This is not a normal 99 Nights in the Forest video. Today my naive, stupid self decided to take on a crazy mission. Today I will be attempting to beat 99 Nights in the Forest without upgrading any weapons. And to join me on this trip into despair are 4 of my followers who are just as clueless as me as to how we will beat this challenge. After upgrading the fire, Gojo guided me and Drenny to our first obstacle. However, these wolves stood no chance against our old axes, and we had saved Kid 1. But we knew that this would cause us no problems, and were heavily aware the tasks ahead were brutal. Nevertheless, we pushed forward with enthusiasm. Drenny was confident he had found our next target, except this guy was just being stupid and brought me to some random wall instead. But I hadn't lost faith in him just yet, and we ventured out to fight our next enemies 2 days later still, with our ancient axes. On encounter, we slashed with all our might, except Drenny was fighting random wolves, and I shitted myself after losing half my HP almost instantly. Luckily, I had successfully lured the aggressors back to camp, where Gojo assisted me in the slaughter, and the second kid was saved. Right now, all of us were thinking that we were cooking, but we had absolutely no idea how powerless we'd be against our next targets. So we move on to our next goal, Kid number 3. However, I wasn't going to be so hasty this time, as I knew of our opposition's power, and the many obstacles we'd have to face with our limited gear. And then after a long road of preparations, we hit an unexpected wall, and we were about to find out how heavily we underestimated how the game would punish us for not upgrading our gear. Cultists began raiding our camp, but they didn't just have axes. They had spears which pierced us through our attacks, and one by one they took us out. As I witnessed everything go down, I could only think, is this the end? And with hunger low, and with our enemy strong enough to steal my HP in mere seconds, I ran. However, I didn't have this team for nothing, and despite the chaos, they all fought against death. I couldn't abandon them, and when I ran back, I saw the severity of our situation. Yet by the skin of our teeth, me waiting it out to heal actually turned the tide, and I just barely finished off the final cultist. Despite us surviving, it showed us a clear image into how we need to face this challenge going forward, since if we're just barely making it out alive now, we won't survive another attack like this. But this was our turning point we had to lock in, and then what felt like forever passed in an instant, and it was day 99, but it wasn't over yet. We weren't abandoning the kids. During our journey, we had already attempted to save Kid 3, but we found out how futile it was to use traps, so we opted for our second option, snowballs. And on day 126, I had obtained what we thought was our ticket to victory. And tired of waiting, I announced to the guys I would attempt to save the kid. But Arisu, Drenny, and Gojo wouldn't let me go alone. I began attacking, except in the blink of an eye Arisu evaporated, but we pushed on. Except it cost us Gojo's life. With both our plans being squashed, I had to think. And then I had a revelation. We could tame the monsters to fight the monsters. I felt stupid for not doing this sooner. I knew some of you were probably screaming at me to do this from the start, but now it's time to put this plan into action. Preparations began, and we set on taming an alpha wolf. I began leveling up preparing to tame the monster, who almost took our lives many times before. And on the day of 174, Jerry was born. So only 20 days later, I had succeeded in saving Kid 3. Drenny and I were ecstatic, but it wasn't over yet. I began preparing the items, but Drenny couldn't get his flute to work, so I decided to tame another alpha wolf myself. During this challenge, many of my allies faded into nature. However, I didn't expect to lose my final ally so soon. Drenny then typed AFK, and then I was alone, and if I died, we'd all lose. Time was running out. I didn't have time to revive as the constant threat of the cultists remained, and even as a duo, me and Drenny knew there would be a time where it would be too much. I tried my hardest to do things as quickly as possible, losing one of my wolves in the process, but I recovered by taming another. So 230 days in, I rushed the final horde, except I almost died instantly, only being saved by my companion Jerry, who died at the cost of my arrogance. And despite my best efforts in the end, I was bested by the cultists with my final ally standing over my body. Yet there's still hope. If you guys show this video enough love, I will attempt this despairful challenge again, and next time, I won't lose.